Hello my lovelies and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. Today we have a little class all about wrist pain. I'm just gonna throw it in there as a little reminder, like this video if you enjoy it, especially it's a little bit different to sort of a normal class. I'm gonna be talking a little bit more. So if you like these sort of tips and tricks kind of videos, then like it and I'll be sure to do more, and of course subscribe to stay updated. But this is all about wrist pain and some little ideas on how you can help manage it and help relieve it, because although it's frustrating, especially during a yoga class or during a workout, for wrist pain to stop you when the rest of your body feels like it can keep going, just know that it isn't permanent and that you can heal it with a little bit of patience and a little bit of practice. So stay tuned and I will talk you through some tips and tricks, and then we'll do a little warm-up sequence that you can do after or you can do before a workout or yoga class to help those wrists. So my little trick slash tip number one is the thickness of your mat. I would definitely suggest going for a mat that is on slightly the thinner side, as long as it's enough to sort of support your knees. You just don't want anything that your hands are going to sink into, as then you're not going to get the proper support in your wrist and you're going to find your hands are a little bit of an angle, which doesn't help with wrist pain. So a slightly thinner mat, and try and practice if you can on a hard surface. I know it's not possible for everybody. I practiced for 6 months on carpet, but again, that doesn't help with the support in the wrists. So yeah, just bear that in mind. And then trick number two is to distribute your weight through your hands and through your feet evenly. So I will demonstrate just in a plank pose. So sometimes when we are in plank pose, we find that all of our weight is forwards. So you'll notice when you're sort of looking at your alignment and you can see that your shoulders are over your wrists, you're almost just balancing on your tippy toes, and all your weight is forward, putting pressure onto the wrists. So you kind of want equal force either side. So you want to send energy through the heels and send energy through the crown of the head, so that your toes are nice and flat and your weight is distributed evenly and your shoulders are over the wrists. So from there, obviously you can do your chaturangas, your upward facing dog, etc, etc. We do spend a lot of time in that position in yoga, especially in vinyasa, doing all of our little vinyasa flows, chaturangas. So it is important to have that distribution between the hands and the feet, because over time it does make a big difference. Trick number, sorry, my little notebook's over there, I'm just like having a little peer. So tip number three is to distribute your weight evenly through your palms. So sometimes, and I know when I first started yoga, I used to rest on the outside of my palm a lot until I learned to press through my index finger and my thumb and sort of have that as the main point of contact. And then I started pressing too much through my index finger and my thumb. So you might find that you get pain in the outside of your wrist down here if you press through the outside of the hand, or maybe on the inside if you press too much through the thumb and the finger. So a way to do this is actually which is what we should be doing anyway, and quite often it's already cued in classes, and it's to externally rotate the shoulders. So I almost say or describe it as though you're turning a knob, turning a doorknob. So imagine your hands are out like this, and then you want to turn them out. So it's that movement in the shoulder joint. And another cue that I use is to say, cover your ears with your armpits. So, and this just helps to distribute the weight through your hands. So you're rotating your shoulders to cover your ears. You can have a little play around. But yeah, that's something that you can do and sort of see how that feels for you. And also try and press all of your weight through not just sort of the outside of the hand or the inside of the hand. So for all of the little pads in the fingers, distribute the weight evenly through the mid section of the hand, rather than just pressing one side more than the other. And hopefully that will help as well. And then the last little tip is simply just to modify. So know that you can always take it down to forearm plank. So every time you do a chaturanga or every time you go into plank pose, just drop down to the forearms. You can do it with the knees down or lifted, keeping your weight evenly distributed again, so your shoulders over your elbows, and you can press through the palms a little bit. And that is something that is always available to you, and this is your practice. You know, no one's practice is the same, so you always have to listen to your body and know that that is available, even if it's not suggested in a class. So without further ado, we will go into our little exercises for strengthening the wrists and for stretching out the wrists. So you can sit however is comfortable. I like to sit in thunderbolt pose just because we're going to come into all fours afterwards. So if that's comfy for you, then just coming to sit onto your shins. And then inhale, just lengthen the spine. Exhale, roll the shoulders back and down. And then we're going to extend the arms out in front. And we're going to make a little ball with the fists. And we're just going to circle outwards. And I want you to try and move just from the wrist joint rather than circling into the arms. So try and keep that movement just coming from the hands. And you might hear some clicking or crunching in the wrists. That's quite normal. And just keep that going. And try and connect your mind as well to the body here, to all the different sensations that arise in the wrist joints. Just being completely aware. And then switch directions. This will start to ache a little bit, but it's good. That's your forearms being strengthened, which will help so much with the wrists. Quite often wrist pain is caused by weak forearm muscles, which can't support the wrists. So just keep that going, little circles in and around. We've got 3, 2, 1, and finding stillness. And we're just flicking the hands, keeping that going. And this will start to ache in a minute. Keeping those arms stretched out in front of you. Good, don't stop. We're going to do it for 5. Keep going. 4, 3, 2, and 1. And relax. Give the arms a little shake. And then we're going to send the right hand out in front like you're saying stop to somebody. And you're going to take your left fingers and just draw your right fingers back. Keeping the palm of your hand pressing forwards. This is a really nice stretch for the inside of the wrist. Just take a few nice deep breaths here. And then we're going to flip the palm upside down, or just turn the hand around so you're turning it down so your fingers point down. And same thing, left fingers draw in the right fingers. Perfect. And then gently release, give the hand a little shake. We'll do the same thing other side, so saying stop with the left hand, right fingers draw the left fingers in towards you. The palm is pressing forward, so try not to let the hand point down. Keep it pointing forwards. And you can sort of compare the sides as you do this as well. You might find that one side feels a little tighter than the other. And maybe that might explain if you have wrist pain in one hand or one wrist and not the other. And then we're going to switch it round, so point the fingers down, right fingers draw the left fingers back in towards you. Keep pressing that palm forwards. And then gently release, give the wrist a little shake. And then we're going to bring the backs of the palms together, fingers point down, and then you're going to press your hands gently together and start to draw your elbows down. So you should feel a nice stretch now across the top of the wrists. And this is something that I actually like to do just out and about on a dog walk. So this, although you can of course watch this class, do it before or after a yoga class or a yoga workout or just any workout, but you can also do this in your own time as well. So if you're on a walk or if you're just sat at your desk, it's what I tend to do normally. Rather than dedicating time specifically to my wrists, I just sort of squeeze it in to my everyday. And something else I love to do here, which will give you a little bit of a deeper stretch, is to actually make a fist with the left hand. I tend to do one hand at a time. And then same thing, you're just pressing the back of the hands together. And I find that will give you a stretch all the way across the top of the hand. It's the same thing, gently pressing and drawing your elbows down. It's quite intense, this one. The fingers will sort of want to spring free. And then gently releasing. If you Made that fist, same thing on the other side. So you're pressing the back of your right hand against the left hand and you're drawing your elbows down. Hopefully finding that same stretch into the top of the hand. Good, perfect. And then gently release, maybe give the wrist a little shake out, and we're going to take it to our all fours position. The first one we're going to do is turning the fingertips towards you. I like to tuck my toes here and start to draw my seat down towards my heels. If you're feeling super stiff in the wrist, then you might just stay in that tabletop position. Otherwise, you can start sinking down, deepening that stretch, keeping the palms pressing into the mat. It's also quite nice to rock forward and backwards. Just find what feels good, as long as you're feeling that stretch through the front of the arms maybe and into the wrists. Holding for a couple more breaths here. And then gently releasing, we're going to flip to the top of the hands. So I like to do this one hand at a time because it is quite intense. So we'll do the left side first, drawing the fingertips in. And same thing here, if you can, sitting back down to the heels or keeping that movement going, drawing forward and backwards. And if you would like to intensify the stretch, you can do the same thing that we did with those prayer hands and actually draw the fingers in, make a fist with the left hand, and then try and press the back of the hand down. It's a lot harder. And those fingers really don't want to stay there. And same thing, keep breathing into that stretch. Perfect, then gently release. Maybe give the hand a little shake and switch sides. So flip to the back of the right palm, flip to the back of the right hand, fingertips point in. Same thing, either drawing your seat to the heels or you're just rocking forward and backwards. And then maybe you want to draw those fingertips in towards the palm, so creating that fist, and gently pressing the back of the hand into the mat. It's a lot harder, but I love the stretch that you get across the top of the hand, which is such a hard place to stretch. So hopefully with this class, if you're not used to stretching out your wrists and you're finding this really challenging or really hard, then it's almost sort of a great thing because you've got the answer to your wrist pain, hopefully. And you know that it's something that you can work towards and it's something that's going to really help you, because there's nothing worse than sort of having a pain or an ache and not having anything that's going to help. So just keep that going, keep breathing into that stretch. This is our last one. And then gently release. We'll just come down to seated, give those wrists a good shake out. Well done, and then bring the palms together. Well done, and then just bow the head to the heart. Namaste.